good morning. Doing a little jam impromptu thing. Gonna learn a little chordlet chord today. We're gonna be in the key of A. What's up, Dean? Welcome. All right. Good morning to you guys, and if you're watching this later, good afternoon, good evening, all that stuff. So, if you're here, you're checking out my channel, maybe for the first time, maybe you're coming back. I'm going to be talking about chordlet chord stuff today. How can we play over the top of chords, and how do we understand what that is, and what can we do to kind of get better at it, all right? So before we get into all of that, I am running a free 5-day boot camp next week, all right? So next week, I'm doing a free boot camp, September 8th through the 12th. I'm going to be live streaming here on YouTube, 7 p.m. Central. Everything is completely recorded. So if you sign up using the link below in the description, you're going to get the free ebook, and we're going to transform your playing in 5 days. All right, so it's all about each day building on the previous day, and we're going to make it so that when you look down at the fretboard, you have more confidence that you've ever had before, all right? That's the goal in this free 5-day boot camp. 5 days of master classes, Monday through Friday, next week, Central Time. If you sign up with the link, you'll get a replay for everything, all right? You'll get a replay link for all the stuff. You'll get the ebook. You'll get everything you need to kind of transform your playing, all right? So we're going to be looking at all kinds of stuff. We're going to master cage system. We're going to look at triads. We're going to put all the pieces together so that you can create your own kind of chordlet chord stuff, all right? And that style of playing is super popular because it's super soulful and it's super accessible to people, because we're not talking about shredding. We're talking about playing really, really melodically and outlining chord changes, which is what all of the pros do. Okay, so that's what we're going to do. And today I'm going to give you a little preview of kind of what that ebook looks like real quick before we get into this lesson. So you sign up for the 5-day boot camp, and you're going to get to see this. All right, so you're going to get a free ebook. It's going to look exactly like this. And we're going to go through. You're going to be able to see everything that's in here. And you're going to see it. We're going to be mastering the fretboard by learning some simple theory that you can really get down, some cage stuff, pentatonics over cage. And we're not talking about that surface level cage stuff that you see all the time here on YouTube. We're talking about how do we actually use it, all right? So we're going to be talking about, in layman's terms, all this stuff is going to be meant to give you what you need to play more confidently with other people, to be able to look down at the fretboard and never feel lost. That's why I'm calling it a transformational boot camp, because that's exactly what's happening here, right? Essential music theory in layman's terms. I'm going to break it down in the simplest way possible. Thank you. I'm going to be doing triads, simplifying that, making it easy to understand, understanding how scales and chord tones can work to bring everything together, and so that your playing can be way more melodic. And then finally, we're going to bring it all together and learn a chordlet chord type of a concept, and then I'm going to show you how you can start to do this stuff on your own, all right? So we got over 50 pages of lessons. We're going to be talking a lot about my kind of learning framework that I use, and that really helps people kind of get what they need and continue to progress. But all this stuff, we got 50 pages, we got diagrams, we got everything you can need, triads. You're going to get all this stuff, and plus the replays if you sign up below, and we're going to transform your playing next week, okay, guys? So you want to get into that. So make sure you take a look at that and get signed up. But let's take a look at a chordlet chord lesson for today and see what we've got. So I'll share screen with you in a second, but what we're going to talk about is an A chord, an F sharp minor chord, a D chord, and back to an A chord, okay? Simple, right? But we're going to put licks in between it, all right? So we've got an A shape, an F sharp minor shape. It's kind of like an E minor form if you're thinking caged. a D, kind of out of the D shape or the C shape of caged. All right, so what is this chord lick chord thing gonna sound like? All right, so you have to be able to do a couple of things when it comes to chord lick chord type of style of playing. It's one, you got to know your progression well enough to be able to grab the chords seamlessly. So like in this case, the progression is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4 type of a thing. All right, so when we're doing that, you also have to know, I appreciate the kind words, you also have to know what scales fit underneath it. And this is all stuff we're going to talk about next week in the boot camp. But if I'm in an A here, I need to know where my major pentatonic is that fits that A. All right? So we're right here, and we're doing A major pentatonic out of the G shape if you know cage. If you don't, it's okay. The boot camp, we're going to talk about it. But if you don't, it's the minor pentatonic shape 1 off of F sharp. So it's the shape everybody knows. All right? It has to do with relative major and minor, but it fits the key of A as well. So every key has a relative minor. In this case, A major's relative minor is F sharp. If you're playing this A shape, you can play an F sharp minor pentatonic in position 1, which most guitar players know. And then all you got to do is plug your chords in and know how much time you have in between a chord, one chord, and the next chord so that you can then put a lick in between, all right? And we're not talking about complicated licks. So I'm going to play this a little bit, and I'll let you take a look at kind of how this is working here on the page in a second. But we're going to go 1, 2, so I didn't do anything crazy there. What did I do? I played an A, then I played a piece of the A triad, and I played an F sharp minor triad, and I'll show you the tab here in a second. And then I took that pattern 1, or took that major pentatonic, and then I slid up into the next one, slid right back into it, and then I did a little double stop lick out of this D triad right here. Little pick scrape thing, and then I landed back on it, and then I stayed right in that pentatonic shape and finished up the lick. All right, so I'm going 1, 2. Pretty basic, but it's a good start in making sure that you can kind of access the tools you need to make this happen. Now, what are the tools that you need? 1, the chords, 2, triads, 3, your pentatonics, and then 4, knowing how much time you have in between chords and where you can lay a lick in between them and feel good about it. Okay, so let's share screen here and take a look at this. All right, so what are we looking at exactly? We're looking right over here. We've got an A and then an F sharp minor triad. It's just a piece of this F sharp minor bar chord, but we're just playing right here. And then we're going to go, let me zoom in a little bit too on myself, you know, nothing crazy high tech here, but this is what we're working with. So we got A, F sharp, right? And then we're going right out of the pentatonic, slide 4 to 6. My middle finger falls into place for that 5th fret string right there. And then we slide back 6 to 4, pull off to 2. So all you gotta do is first get that. So all I'm doing is going, look at what I did first of all with structure. A, F sharp, a whole measure of a chord, and in this case I did a whole measure of a lick. Just like that. And then I did another chord right here, which is just a triad. But I added something. It really is, it's a little lick in there. It's like a little double stop, kind of Hendrixy, Stevie Ray Vaughan thing. So it's like, but all I'm doing is going 4, 2, and 3, which is just a D major triad in first inversion, and I hammer my pinky onto that 4th fret 3rd string. Just like that. Or you can not even use your ring finger and just do the 2nd fret A, 3rd fret D, and just hammer those on. I kind of like the sound of this because it sounds a little fuller with that F sharp in there. So what we're looking at here is A, F sharp, lick. All right, so there was a chord, a lick, chord lick-ish, and then look, we have one more little lick. Right out of that A major pentatonic. Just like that. So what are the key concepts you can take away here, all right? So if you join the boot camp as well, I'll drop this tab in there as a file in the Facebook group, so you'll have access to that. So make sure you join in that transformational boot camp that's happening next week. That link is in the description below. But what we've got here is we've got an A, an F sharp, a little lick, chord lick, and then a chord, and then one more lick. And it's pretty basic, but it gets the job done, and it sounds really, really nice. Right? So let's keep going. So we got the same lick twice. So what if we moved it up? All right, I'll give you a little bonus thing here. What if we move it up and we do the same concept, but we do triads further up the neck? You can see triads are going to be a key concept here that we're going to cover. Right? So we've got an A right here. This is out of your E shape. We've got an A right here, and that's 7, 6, 5. Right? It's out of your E shape. And then we've got this. All right? Didn't notate it right there, but it's an F sharp minor. That's third in the bass. All right? That's 7, 6, 7. Right? So we've got chord, little lick, chord, little lick. Basic concept, but you got to know the why behind this stuff, and that's exactly what we're going to talk about when we're transforming your playing next week, all right? So this is the whole thing, is like, it's easy to learn a lick. It's hard to know the why behind it. How do we make it so that every time you pick up the guitar, you really understand where you're at and you never get lost? This is what we're going to start diving into next week, September 8th through 12th. We're going to make sure that you have a better understanding of the fretboard than you've ever had before, so that when you pick up the guitar for friends, family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, whoever, when you're playing for your bandmates, they're going to go, whoa, dude, where did you pick that up at? And it's going to be because you're going to end up with more confidence on the fretboard and navigation skills than you've ever had before. All you got to do is get into that boot camp next week. I'm going to break this stuff down for you. All right, so if we look at this right here, you got A, F sharp minor. I did a little, all I did was like a down, up type of thing. F sharp minor right here. And then I did a little double stop lick over this D triad right here, right? So technically it should be, you know, a bass note here, but there's not, because we're just playing solo guitar. So we're barring 5 and 5 and hammering our 7th fret, 2nd string. So you're outlining the 3rd and the 5th of that D, right? So, right? So really what's happening here is you're outlining the sound of this little D chord just by hitting a couple chord tones. It's called implied harmony. Even with no bass, the listener perceives that as a D. So, sorry. And then we're going to go piece of the triad for D, 7 and 7 on the 3rd and 4th string, 5 and 5, and then we land on that A again. So that line there at measure 9, if you're watching. And then we do like a little kind of Hendrixy sounding thing right here. We're going to go, it's kind of like a C sharp minor type of a deal. You're going to go 6, 5, and 7, C sharp minor 7th. All right, and then you play it, and then I go 5 and 7. My fingers are already there on the 1st and 2nd string, and I slide up to 7 and 9. Kind of a cool little move there. So just like that, okay? So if we take a look at that again, what are the key concepts? Triads, little rhythmic move, little lick, in this case a double stop, piece of a triad, little percussive move into a slide, and then landing back on the A. So if we put this whole thing together, you've kind of got one part into the next here. You've got like, let's see if I can zoom out just a little. So you got A. That would be your main riff. If you can play this and you learn it, join the boot camp, all right? This is going to transform your playing. And if you're looking at this going, I could never play this, then you definitely need to get into the boot camp, because this is what I'm going to break down the why behind it, all right? It's not enough just to learn the licks. it's got to be more than that. You got to know the why behind it. You got to know the approach behind it, the thought process behind it, so that you can start looking at the fretboard at a higher level, more on a professional level, so that when you pick it up, you're more confident than ever before. So I'll play that again. A, triad, F sharp triad, major pentatonic, little double stop, riff, all right? And then we got A, F sharp, next line, and then the C sharp minor 7th. All right, it's kind of a castles made of sand sound. I'll do the whole thing again so you guys can have it. That, my friends, is a chordlet chord concept, and it's not nearly as complex as you might think, okay? So let's take a look and move this back over here. So once again, yes, I'm giving you this chordlet chord lesson, but if you're really ready to take your playing to that next level, you've got to get into the boot camp. Link is in the description down below. Like I said, we're going to transform your playing next week. This is what I do. This is my passion in life. I'm going to help you get what you need to get out of this so that you're more confident than you've ever been on the guitar. Scott says, I like your guitar tone. Can you talk a little about how you get it after all of this? Sure, I can. Scott, by the way, I hope you joined the boot camp. Dean, I think you're in there. Finney, if that's how you pronounce your name, man, I would appreciate it. Or yeah, you should get in there and check it out as well. Beth, thanks for the hello. So all I'm doing for guitar tone right here, I'll do a little thing on this is literally just a Strat type of guitar, right? It's not a Fender Strat. It's made by a local company here in Kansas City called Sife Guitars. Check them out. They build amazing kind of custom shop style Strats, Tellys, Jazz Masters, stuff like that. But all I'm doing is kind of cheating a little bit. So I'm plugging into a Kemper Profiler, that I got used on Reverb. And I loaded it with a bunch of M-Brit profiles. The M-Brit profiles are sounding really, really nice. And this is a matchless SC30 model of an amp. And all the thing that's on there is reverb, compression, and a little bit of gain. There's nothing crazy happening here. I could turn up the gain. It's going to push my whole system, but like... But hey, Scotland. But yeah, so literally, I have the gain down pretty low. But all it's really doing is a matchless SC30 amp from M-Brit Profiles. That's what I got here. That's what I'm working with. It's just a guitar straight into that amp sound. And a profiler is different than an amp modeler. A profiler is like where they, I don't know the whole magic behind it, but they actually get into taking recordings of different amps, and then it profiles them and stores them in different whatevers, parameters or whatever. It gets all the parameter sounds of it at different volumes, puts it all together in one algorithm type of thing, and then you store it on a Kemper Profiler. And this is just an old one. It's really nice, but it sounds really good. It's easier than micing an amp up in my little studio here. But Scott, hopefully that was helpful. Thanks for watching from Scotland. But yeah, check out this chordlet chord lesson. Make sure you get into the Transformational Bootcamp. Starts next week. If you join with the link in the description, you're going to get recordings of each of the master classes, even if you can't make it. It's 7 p.m. Central, Monday through Friday next week. And it's gonna be a big party, and we're going to learn a ton. I'm telling you, a little late for me, but gotta find this. Yeah, Mark, thanks for joining. Hopefully you get into the boot camp next week, September 8th through 12th. We're gonna transform your guys' guitar playing. That's why it's a transformational boot camp. Take the mystery out of the fretboard and make you guys feel more confident than you've ever stinking been. Thanks for joining. I hope you catch this on the replay, and